Let us practice the meditation steps so that we revise, repeat, and it becomes part of our lifestyle. Every Upanishad recommends a meditation technique because that is the only way to realize self. So here in Amritabindu Upanishad, we are using the same technique given by Amritabindu Upanishad, that is the sadhana of sound and silence. So step number one, let us sit straight, head, neck, backbone straight. Step number one is Sthira Sukha Asanam. I must be able to keep my body relaxed. That is the most important point, portion of meditation. Only on the base of relaxation, meditation happens. I must not be in a hurry that immediately I sit and then I can withdraw the mind and suddenly I will remember self. The body has to be completely relaxed. That is a reason why we have to have good health, practice asanas, pranayam, so that when we sit for meditation, the body relaxes, remains still, doesn't call for any attention. Head, neck, backbone must be in straight line. Step number two, we take a resolve, as Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, that moment you take a resolve, I will come and help you. The moment Ratnakar took a resolve, Lord's grace came to him. Taking a resolve is very important, forgetting all the things what we have done and not underestimating ourselves. So we take a resolve that at this point of time, I'm only a sadhak, unattached to situation, objects, people. At this point of time, my goal is to know myself, which is the goal, purpose of our life. I will sit for next 10 minutes without moving, without getting distracted, and the next 45 minutes completely in tune with the knowledge of the Upanishad, because that is a method of meditation. Shruti, Yukti, Anubhuti. Step number three, I invoke God's grace and Guru Parampara's blessings by visualizing my Ishta Devata in my mind frame clearly between the eyebrows. If I do not have a Ishta Devata, then my Guru's form. Especially, I must visualize the eyes of the Devata or Guru, full of compassion, love. If I do not have a Guru, I can imagine Om. I invoke God's grace and Guru Parampara's blessings to keep us on this path and remove all obstacles en route. As God promises, you take 10 steps, I will take 90 steps. Step number 4, I imagine God's grace, Guru's grace falling on my each part of the body and mind and healing it from head, shoulders, neck, spinal cord, chest, stomach, groin, thighs, knees, calf muscles, shin, feet, head to toe. Body and mind is completely bathed by the golden blue light. Forgetting the body, I just focus and feel the breath. Just think that I do not have a body, but I can feel the breath. So, where do I feel the breath? I can feel the breath in the nostril at one part when exhaling on the upper lip, entire attention on the breath. The mind is distracted more than I can stop my breath or take stronger breaths. It's a very powerful technique to withdraw the mind from the world, from the body, and make it formless, nameless, and bring in the present moment. Next step, I will chant 12 times Om. My entire attention will be on the sound, remembering that Om envelops everything. As Mandukya Upanishad says, Om is everything. Om is a substratum of waking, dream, deep sleep. So when I chant Om, I'm focusing on the sound, remembering the meaning of it. Om, 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 Om. Now I will focus on the amatra, that is a fourth matra of the Om, silence, which denotes the Turiya Avastha. Om. 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 So now when the mind focuses on the silence, it is completely alert in the present moment. There is no other thought coming. And when the mind focuses on silence for longer and longer time, a point comes where it dissolves because it has nothing to cognize, no names and forms, no words, because the ego survives with names and forms, with thoughts and feelings, with perception and sensations. When there is no perception, no sensations, no feelings, no thoughts, then the ego falls off. Till this point of time is our effort. When it will happen, that is God's grace. So let us invoke again the God's grace and Guru Parampara's blessings. With them, with their blessings only, we are able to listen to this, understand this, practice this. So let us chant loudly. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो वरिष्ठनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः अखण्डमण्डलाकारं व्याप्तं येन चराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः स्थावरं जङ्गमं व्याप्तं यत्किञ्चित् सचराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः चिन्मयं व्यापि यत् सर्वं त्रैलोक्यं सचराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयम् करुणालयम् नमामि भगवत्पाद शङ्करम् लोकशङ्करम् शङ्करम् शङ्कराचार्यम् केशवम् बादरायणम् सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः समस्तजनकल्याणी निरतं करुणामयम् नमामि चिन्मयम् देवम् सद्गुरुम् ब्रह्मविद्वरम्।
So we are doing Amritabindu Upanishad, where it started with assuming that a seeker has approached a guru and said that in spite of knowing so many things, why am I miserable? And the guru has pointed out that the cause of misery is the mind. So then what is the process? The mind has to be purified. The mind has to be concentrated. And then the mind has to focus on one particular sound, and then it will focus on the silence, and then it will dissolve. So when we start practicing this, we actually come to know what is the importance of Vairagya. If Vairagya is there, to the degree to which I have Vairagya, the mind will be able to hold on to silence. Otherwise, silence will not be so interesting also, because I am so used to four things. What are the four things? Perception, sensations, feelings, and thoughts. Continuously, these four are coming and going. And then what will I realize? The Praman is the Upanishad, where it says you will realize the self, which is your own real nature, and various attributes of self are given, which we have been studying in the last 2-3 verses, that it is difference-less, part-less, logic-less, comparison-less, measure. It cannot be measured. It is a substratum of all the three states. It is one but reflecting in many, like one moon reflecting in different water bodies. It is like the space which is there in different names and forms of the pots. That is what we saw last time. So after reaching here, definitely the student is practicing. This Upanishadic student would be practicing whatever the Guru is telling. Those who practice will reach a particular point of frustration, that why it is not happening. And then the 16th verse says that very important, especially for people who are interested in Shastra, because the 16th verse is going to give us one indication that once I sit for meditation, these words only will come in our mind. So one of the obstacle in our meditation will be words. So here in the 15th verse, what the Rishi is going to tell us is that Shabda Maya Vruto. So what is this Maya? So we are going to discuss today two aspects. Naiva Tamasa Yati Pushkare. So this area which constantly is mentioned again and again in Vedantic book, that the whole cause is ignorance. I am acting, sensations, perception, feeling, thoughts. So what is the cause of it? Of actions, that is thoughts. What is the cause of thoughts? Desires. What is the cause of desire? Vasanas. What is the cause of vasana? Sense of incompleteness. What is the cause of sense of incompleteness? Ignorance of the self. So finally it boils down to ignorance of the self. So one day Gurudev, after listening this for maybe 1 year, asked upon Maharaj, You went, what is this ignorance? Finally the whole culprit is ignorance. I didn't create it. Who created it? When it started? He told you have come here to learn about ignorance or learn about knowledge. Because once this constantly we hear that it is ignorance, ignorance of the self. So now the ignorance of the self has gone because I know I am Atma at the intellectual level, but still the ignorance is not going because I am not experiencing it. So now it has been mentioned that Shabda Maya Vruto. So it has been covered by Shabda Maya. This is something new what has been offered by Amritabindu Upanishad. So I would request Vidya to chant the 14 verses and 15th verse twice.
Yes. मनो हि द्विविधं प्रोक्तं शुद्धं चाशुद्धमेव च अशुद्धं कामसङ्कल्पं शुद्धं कामविवर्जितं मन एव मनुष्याणां कारणं बन्धमोक्षयोः बन्धाय विषयासक्तं मुक्तं निर्विषयं स्मृतं यतो निर्विषयस्यास्य मनसो मुक्तिरिष्यते अतो निर्विषयं नित्यं मनः कार्यं मुमुक्षुणा निरस्तविषयासङ्गं सन्निरुद्धं मनो हृदि यदा यात्यात्मनो भावं तदा तत्परमं पदम् तावदेव निरोद्धव्यं यावत् हृदि गतं क्षयम् एतत् ज्ञानं च ध्यानं च शेषो न्यायश्च विस्तरः नैव चिन्त्यं न चाचिन्त्यं न चिन्त्यं चिन्त्यमेव तत् पक्षपातविनिर्मुक्तं ब्रह्म सम्पद्यते तदा स्वरेण सन्धयेत् योगम् अस्वरं भावयेत् परम् अस्वरेणानुभावेन भावो वा भावयिष्यते तदेव निष्कलं ब्रह्म निर्विकल्पं निरञ्जनम् तद्ब्रह्माहमिति ज्ञात्वा ब्रह्म सम्पद्यते ध्रुवम् निर्विकल्पम् अनन्तं च हेतुदृष्टान्तवर्जितम् अप्रमेयमनादिं च यज्ञात्वा मुच्यते बुधः न निरोधो न चोत्पत्तिः न बद्धो न च साधकः न मुमुक्षुर्न वै मुक्तः इत्येषा परमार्थता एक एवात्मा मन्तव्यः जाग्रत् स्वप्न सुषुप्तिषु स्थानत्रयव्यतीतस्य पुनर्जन्म न विद्यते एक एव हि भूतात्मा भूते भूते व्यवस्थितः एकधा बहुधा चैव दृश्यते जलचन्द्रवत् घटसंवृतमाकाशं नीयमाने घटे यथा घटो नीयेत नाकाशः तथा जीवो नभोपमः घटवत् विविधाकारं भिद्यमानं पुनः पुनः तद्भग्नं न च जानाति स जानाति च नित्यशः शब्दमायावृतो नैव तमसा याति पुष्करे भिन्ने तमसि चैकत्वम् एक एवानुपश्यति शब्दमायावृतो नैव तमसा याति पुष्करे भिन्ने तमसि चैकत्वम् एक एवानुपश्यति.
Very nice chanting, Vidya. So, till 14th verse, this Amritabindu Upanishadic student, we can assume that has purified one's mind. But still, maybe has got stuck that why it is not happening now. So now the Guru says that Shabda Maya Vruta. Shabda Maya Vruto Naiva Tamasa Yati Pushkare. So now this self, what you are seeking, is covered by ignorance. And it is veiled by your mind is completely veiled by words. So because when I sit for meditation, now my mind is pure. But so many words come in my mind about the self, about Atman, Brahman, this, that, and so many words I have been listening to in various Upanishad, various religions. So this word illusion is stopping my realization. And on the destruction of this ignorance, one sees the self alone. Evanu pashyati. So I can see my own self when I destroy this ignorance, which is veiled by this Shabda Maya. So now we'll have to inquire into one important aspect called as ignorance, avidya. So I had asked one question last time. I'm glad that Nisha ji has given some details, thought over what is avidya, what is adhyasa. So as Vidya is chanting, what is the definition of Vidya? Sa Vidya ya Vimuktaye. So what is the definition of Vidya? Sa Vidya ya Vimuktaye. Vidya is that which liberates you. So what is avidya? That which binds us, that which keeps us in bondage. So now, before we do exact analysis of the mantra, when we are going ahead with higher texts, like when we have covered some prakaran granthas and we are covering some kind of Upanishads, and then we go to Adhyasa Bhashya and Brahma Sutra. So that is called as Prasthanatrayi. So it would help us to identify the distinction between couple of terminologies and these two things. And one more question I'd ask, that between avidya and adhyasa, what is the cause of misery? Who creates misery? So let us see avidya and adhyasa. So what is avidya? First of all, avidya is ignorance or absence of right knowledge. In Gurudev's word, very beautiful, non-apprehension plus misapprehension. In our day-to-day life also, ignorance is a cause of misery. Ignorance is a cause of anxiety. Ignorance is a cause of suffering. Let us take a day-to-day example also, that because I'm ignorant how to make money, a person remains poor. Because I do not know how to create health, that ignorance creates ill health. And the moment I go to doctor and doctor says, oh, this is there, then my ignorance goes, I can handle it. So, absence of right knowledge, and this terminology in this particular context, ignorance about my own self, who am I, is the main ignorance which causes all challenges. When it started, it is beginningless. Because suppose we say it started at a particular point, then what was before it? So when was the first vasana? When was the first thought? So the answer to it, that the question itself is invalid, because I am asking time. So the moment I ask time, then what was before that? Nothing. How can there be nothing? There was knowledge before ignorance. So knowledge created ignorance. So the answer is, when ignorance started, it is beginningless. When vasana started, it is beginningless. When this I notion started, it is beginningless, because then it will become real. So the question is invalid. Second, very important point, ignorance by itself is not an entity. Sa maya, ya maya, we say, no? That which is not there, it is not an entity by itself. How? How can you say that? Because ignorance is creating all the troubles. You say action and then thought and then desire, then vasanas and sense of incompleteness and then ignorance. But ignorance is not an entity like darkness. According to physics, darkness is not existing at all. Darkness is not an entity. Light is an entity. There is no concept of darkness in reality. And as Guruji gives a very simple very profound one, that it is always, ignorance is always of something. That is a very important point. I would invite all the sadhaks who are listening, please underline this and think about this, what Guruji is talking, that ignorance is not an entity by itself, but ignorance is always of something. I am ignorant of the French language. I am ignorant of the Sanskrit language. I am ignorant of metaphysics. I am ignorant of the self. So it is about the self. So it is always of something. So it is not an entity. And when I get knowledge of that something, ignorance disappears, which was not there only. So now, why it is called as beginningless? Suppose I ask you one question, that when did your ignorance about the French language begin? No, no, but do you know French language? No. When did it begin? I came to know. I don't know. I don't know French language. When it began, it began English. The moment I learn French language, the ignorance will go. So in the same way, the moment I have the knowledge of the self, the ignorance will disappear. Solution: self-knowledge can only remove ignorance, not any other knowledge of chemistry, physics, biology, engineering, maths. No, no. So we have learnt already in many Upanishads also this topic comes, para and apara vidya. One is a knowledge of the world which is useful for me for maintaining my body, mind, intellect, relationships. That's all. To earn some money, to be secure, to have some home, to travel. That is a lower knowledge. Higher knowledge is which knowledge? Self knowledge only will remove self ignorance, not karma. So the just do good, be good philosophy doesn't work here in realization in Vedanta. Do good, be good will create purification. It will not remove ignorance. Karma is not opposite of ignorance. This comes in Atmabodh also. This comes in many Upanishads also. So karma cannot remove ignorance. Self-knowledge can remove self-ignorance. So what is the process? Guruji has given the process, self-knowledge inquiry process. First, I must have means of knowledge. What is the means of knowledge? Shabda Pramana, Guru Vakya. Guru Shruti Vakya is the Pramana. And then whatever it is there in the Upanishad, I have to keep thinking, what is this self? It is beginningless, it is endless, it is divisionless, it is partless, that cannot be destroyed by space, that cannot be destroyed by water, that cannot be destroyed by fire. It is pure existence, consciousness, infinite bliss, avasthatraya sakshi, panchakoshatita, sthula, sukshma, karana, sharira, vyatiriktam, Satchitananda Swarupa iti tishtate sa atma. That is atma. So when I sit for meditation, Vivek is very important so that I am able to discriminate. So the process in meditation is neti neti and then I realize. What is Adhyasa? In Adhyasa Bhashya, the definition is given. Aha koyam adhyaso nameti uchchati smruti rupa paratra purva drushtava bhasa. Seems very complicated. If you see the definition, superimposition is cognition on different locus having a nature similar to that of recollection and cognizing what has been experienced earlier. Okay, what difficult? No, no, not difficult. It is very simple. Simple thing to understand Adhyasa is this example, which is taken in Adhyasa Bhashya or many texts. We have studied Atmabodh, there also it comes. That now we have to pay attention, take a deep breath and listen, because Adhyasa Bhashya is the preamble for Brahma Sutra, where Adi Shankaracharya has clearly established that there is a problem. There is a problem what has happened. And what is the problem? The problem is of superimposition. Only when I know the problem, then the first sutra comes, Thato Brahma Jidnyasa. So there is a need to know Brahman. So now let us take that example very, very simple but little deeper we will go. I am walking on a beach. I see a shining object. Please listen to all the sentences in detail because on this there is a lot of discussion coming in the higher text, those who are interested to read. I see a shining object. Second aspect. So cognition has happened of the shining object. Then I think I get so happy. I think it is a gold coin because earlier days there were gold coins, or I think it is a coin. Right now I'm not saying I will be happy because I think it will be 5 paise, 10 paise, 1 rupee. But that time it was silver coin, very expensive one. So now we have to listen carefully. That silver coin is coming from Smruti Rupa Paratra Purva Dushtava Bhasa. Means earlier I have seen the silver coin which is there in my memory. I have to listen to every word what we are discussing, Adhyasa definition. And from that memory, I am now superimposing that silver coin on the shell. And when I go near with expectation, with lot of joy, I find that it is a shell. Recollecting and cognizing what has been experienced earlier. So I have to again and again ponder over this. So in my mind, that memory aspect is very important where adhyasa happens. If I have no memory of silver coin, adhyasa will not happen. Superimposition will not happen. And superimposition is happening in our day-to-day life so much that we are not even recognizing how we superimpose. The moment I say that this person is good, it is a superimposition. The moment I give a value to some rupees, it is a superimposition. The world is good or bad, superimposition. Everything is superimposed from my memory on the reality. And when I superimpose, then the problem starts. Simple definition of adhyasa, again given in Brahma Sutra, is cognition of that what is not. I am seeing something what it is not. So there are two adhyasa. Dharmi adhyasa means first problem happens when I say that aham idam, I am body, mind, intellect. And dharma adhyasa means mama idam, I am stout, fair, women, this, that is about the body. Whereas in reality, my nature is Satchitananda, I am Atma. So the whole problem starts when I start imagining that I am a shadow. That shadow goes in the gutter, the shadow somebody spits, and I think it is on me somebody has spat. Adhyasa leads to notion of doership and enjoyership plus transmigratory nature. So adhyasa is the problem, not avidya. All misery is created by adhyasa, superimposition. Though the cause of adhyasa is avidya. This is slightly detailed we are going, like suppose we are learning biology, then the biology, suppose we are given hibiscus flower. Now we say this is hibiscus flower, but then there are 100 things in the hibiscus flower we dissect. In the same way, in the normal terminology, avidya will be considered as both, but when we go deeper, then we are dissecting. So Adi Shankaracharya says in Adhyasa Bhashya that there is a problem what has happened in cognition of our own self, that My own self is Atma, which the nature is Satchidananda, but I have cognized it as body, mind, intellect because I am seeing it. And that's the reason there is no definite clarity to me. So, Athato Brahma Jidnyasa, I need to inquire into what is Brahman. So, Adhyasa is the basis of all perception and knowledge. Now, Avidya and Adhyasa function. This is out of interest because this was my topic of interest. So, I'm just giving some pointers. Avidya denotes the function of concealing the inner self. So what is the function of avidya? Concealing the inner self. What is adhyasa function? Denotes the function of projecting the unreal self. So now we conclude, as I had asked the question in the last session, it is this projecting aspect is the direct cause of all miseries. How? What is the proof? Because in deep sleep, avidya is there, adhyasa is not there. But it is not troubling me. I don't I don't know that I don't know. It's not troubling me. I know that I don't know. It troubles me. It's a troublesome aspect. So we got the answer for last time. So what are the avidya adhyasa relationships? Adhyasa is born of and sustained by avidya. Snake is snake and rope. Another example. No adhyasa takes place when the reality is not concealed by avidya. Suppose I already have seen the rope, I can never see the snake. If there is no rope, the snake cannot be seen. Both avidya and adhyasa disappears the moment when the reality is realized. The moment I see the rope in the torchlight or a light, then the snake disappears because there was never a snake. Jnate tatve ka sansara bhaja govindam says. So when I go nearer and nearer and nearer to the self, a point will come when I can see the self clearly when the world disappears. Body, mind, intellect disappears. There are two kinds of avidya, concealing avidya, karya avidya, projecting avidya. These are all terminologies because if those who are interested to study higher text, then these all terminologies will come. Okay, now we'll go to mantra analysis. Ignorance have two powers, veiling power, tamasa, and projecting power, misapprehension. But now, second part, how Shabda Maya Vruto you are talking about. So covered by delusive power of words, sound, names, form, because our mind, our thoughts, our perceptions, sensations are all forms of name, form, sound only. Suppose I remove name and forms, sound, nothing can exist. Like one Mahatma says, this all world is only a light and sound show. Word power, as even Bible says that first there was the word and then there was the creation. So they can delight us, hurt us, inspire us, humiliate us, liberate us, bind us. How they can bind us? Suppose I constantly say I'm body, mind, intellect, I'm body, mind, intellect, I'm body, mind, intellect. It will bind me. Suppose I say Am Brahmasmi, Am Brahmasmi, Am Brahmasmi, Am Brahmasmi, again and again, again and again, again and again, the words will create its own power. No, no, but how can I say Am Brahmasmi when I am not experienced? No, no, it is a sadhana, it is a japa. Swami Advananji says in the last stage I should say Am Brahmasmi, Am Brahmasmi, Am Brahmasmi, Am Brahmasmi, Am Brahmasmi. The word will has to manifest. Has to manifest because there is no choice. The word has to manifest. They can create friends, enemies, wealth, poverty, understanding, misunderstanding in our day-to-day life. Words. Seeker of truth can get lost. This is a warning from Adi Shankaracharya in Vivek Chudamani also. Because there are people who look into this WhatsApp, that video, that YouTube, this Swami, that religion, that school of thought, this school of thought, this way, this Swami, that, and then the person gets lost because the person will have different beliefs. So what is that? Shabda Jalam Maharanyam Chitta Brahmana Karanam. Vivek Chudamani says that it is a warning. Don't get lost into words. This word, that word, again and again, different scriptures. Just check how to check whether I'm getting lost in the words. The moment I sit in for meditation, what comes in my mind? Different words only will come initially. So we'll just complete this topic with one small story. Actually, two stories. Let Swami Advayananji give this story that when we were small, I think we all remember that at least I had done this. I don't know how many of you would have done, but we used to get biscuits, and those biscuits were of different shapes. Donkey shape, monkey shape, elephant shape. And then when two, three of us go, then there is a fight for that monkey shape. So the monkey, donkey, rabbit, elephant is only name and form, but basically it is biscuit only. And after we grow up, then we don't see the shapes. Then we see the biscuit. What is the quality of biscuit? Second story. That once Guruji had gone to somebody's house for bhiksha. He's an elderly couple when he was a brahmachari in Indore, or in Bhopal, sorry. The husband was 75, the wife was 73, and he went at 5 o'clock and then they started talking. And Guruji had eaten lunch at certain time, so he was feeling hungry also. Then after lot this discussion, he was wondering whether he will get something, tea, coffee. So then after 1.5 hour, that person asked, "Will you have chai, Swami?" Guruji, "Haan, tea." So then in Bhopal, Hindi they speak. So his elderly wife was inside. अरे सुनती हो चाय लेके आना दो चाय बनाना. And then they again started talking. Guruji is talking to this person, but tea is not coming. 15, 20 minutes, half an hour. Then again after half an hour, one sound came from inside. अरे सुनते हो वो बिल्ली नहीं मिल रही है, चीनी नहीं मिल रही है. तो then this person said बिल्ली डालो. So then Guruji is wondering, Billi Dalo means he thought some cat will be put in the tea. So he was waiting for next 15, 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, that lady brought tea. The Guruji was looking, Billi Dalo means what? And then he had cup of tea. It was okay. Then he asked this person, this Billi Dalo, chini khatam hogi. Usne bola, aapne Billi Dalo. What is this? He told, no. What happened? We had gone to a mall and there was sugar was not there. So we bought this toy sugars, which was on different forms. So she told sugar खत्म हो गया. मैंने बोला वो बिल्ली लेके आए ना वो डालो. Then she remembered, अरे वो yesterday we had got those toy sugar, and you get those packet where different shapes of sugar toys come. So Guruji gives this example in this Shabda Maya Vruta is that how we are entangled into the entire life goes into names and forms only. Names, forms, kriya, relationship, this whole thing is occupying my mind so much that it will not be able to focus on the Atma. So, unless and until we overcome this Shabda Maya, that is these names and forms, we will not be able to focus on the pointer. Now, this is an important point before we close. Pointers, what Upanishad is giving, which are lakshanas of self, because we will get stuck with the word itself. Satchitananda will come in my mind, but these are only words. So I mentioned that, like I go to one Saint Amritabindu in Kerala, sometimes I visit her. So last time I visited her, that Swamiji, who knows me, he introduced her that, he has just attended Brahma Sutra and coming here unnecessarily. And then she immediately told, whatever you She was smiling. She told me that if you write sugar on paper and it will not give you taste. This is what she told. All this Brahma Sutra and Upanishad, this is like all words on paper. It is not going to give me the taste of that self, Atma, which is such chit, infinite bliss. So it is very, very important, especially for people who are following Jnana Marga. We get stuck into these words, and these words will veil the real self. That is Shabda Maya Vrut. We'll take some 2, 3 aspects of this mantra next time, but this is a main aspect of ignorance and the veiling power of words, names, and forms. And that's the reason Ramana Maharshi also says, Veshahanatah Swatma Darshana. Isha Darshana Swatma Rupa. So that Vesha is names and form only in Upadesh Sarvisa. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.